people are reeling from the announcement, of course, that Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy is retiring. And you know who told supporters his plan for the future and gave them a warning about Democrats at a rally in Fargo last night. Take a look.
Remember this, so we have a pick to come up. We have to pick a great one. We have to pick one that's going to be there for 40 years, 45 years. Democrats want judges who will rewrite the Constitution any way they want to do it and take away your Second Amendment, erase your borders, throw open the jailhouse doors, and destroy your freedoms. We must elect more Republicans. We have to do that.
Yeah. Let's have everybody a Republican. The Supreme Court, the Congress, the presidency. What is that called? Dictatorship, I believe.
Well, that was called fear-mongering.
Thomas
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Thomas Jefferson and James Madison are rolling over in their grave today. What happened to separation of powers? What happened to checks and balances in this country? Gone. Gone.
Yeah. Well, Democrats were in power for a long time, especially under Obama. You had 3 branches of government at the time. It's just the pendulum swinging the other way. And I think one thing, because I knew last night I was texting my sister-in-law and I was like, tomorrow's going to be a rough day on the show because I was thrilled with this news. I'm happy that we're going to get another Supreme Court nominee, especially as a pro-life, pro-gun, strict constitutionalist Republican. And I will say that judges don't always turn out how you think. You're not even looking at me, Joy. I was trying to ease your fears a little bit. Kennedy in particular was a swing voter. Gay marriage passed because of him. He was nominated under Reagan. We're a long time coming before this actually legally passes. And I will say that I know it's easy sometimes to watch Trump and think that the world is coming to an end, but elections have consequences. And last night, Amber Tamblyn was tweeting about all the Democrats like Susan Sarandon, who thought that they couldn't possibly vote for Hillary Clinton because I think her direct quote was the revolution would come.
I'm furious
How do you
with her
feel
too.
now? How do
And
those people feel now? How did the
You know
Jill
what?
Stein Bernie people
Actually,
feel now?
here's the piss off for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the person that does believe that just because someone is appointed doesn't mean, and I believe I've said that a lot about the Supreme Court, that you never know how a person on the Supreme Court is going to vote, because sometimes, you know, things change, they wake up, they see things. I don't like hearing again that I'm trying to take your rights away. Because I have to tell you, as a woman, I think you're trying to take my rights away.
That's right.
Okay? You don't care. I mean, and as a person who believes in the Constitution, which tells me that I have the right to be myself and do the things I want to do, and I don't have to listen to what your religion is, and I don't have to listen to what you want it to be. I have to make sure that as an American citizen, I'm doing the right stuff and taking care of business. I don't like this line that I, as a Democrat or an independent or whatever, is trying to take away anything from you. I'm trying to hold on to my personal rights so that you can have the rights you want. See, because if you take mine, I feel like you're the one with the problem. If you take my right away from me to judge what I do for my family and my body, I got a little problem with that. You got a problem. You don't want people to take your guns. Well, get out of my behind. Get out of my vagina. Get out.
Well, it's interesting because I think,
That's right.
you know,
I mean, it's a give and take. It's a give and take.
Kennedy has been the swing vote,
Yes.
certainly, but let's be real. I mean, he was always a conservative justice. He was appointed by Reagan. Neil Gorsuch, who is very conservative, was his law clerk. And so for me, I wasn't surprised that he would want to retire during a Republican administration. I think he was very comfortable that Trump had nominated and appointed Neil Gorsuch, someone that he was comfortable with, and I think that gave him some solace. But I will say that since many of these decisions lately have been 5-4, they've been very, very close. Now we are going to see a different agenda coming out of the Supreme Court. And my friend Jeff Toobin was saying on CNN yesterday that Roe v. Wade is doomed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, for me,
in many states,
in many states,
Not
there are going to be
everywhere.
challenges, that there are going to be a lot of anti-abortion laws that are going to be passed, and those laws will take effect immediately until they are challenged at the Supreme Court level, which undoubtedly will happen. Now, I've said many times I am pro-life, but I am also a lawyer, so I follow the law. I believe in the Constitution, but I can understand understand why people will feel that their liberties are at jeopardy, because the one thing that this justice stood for was personal liberty. When you thought about, you know, same-sex marriage, you thought about Kennedy. When you thought about, I think, Roe v. Wade, you thought about Kennedy and his vote, and affirmative action, you thought about Kennedy. So he was very into personal liberties, and I do fear that that's going to change.
But can I just explain my perspective, which is the perspective of most pro-life Republicans, is that we are guaranteed in this country life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, as I define it, it does not include abortion. I believe abortion is murder. So this is where the line delineates. So when you're talking about liberty,
but you have the right not to have an abortion.
But it's an interpretation of the law.
But that's your interpretation of
It's an interpretation of the law.
You are not.
You know,
I'm not okay when people say, listen, I want my stuff, but you can't have yours. The government has said, I have the right, if I need an abortion, that I can have one. And I feel that you have every right to have the guns you want. There are some guns I think shouldn't be out there, but I don't say you can't have your damn guns. I don't want anybody saying to me, I'm going to make this decision for you, because I know how your life is, and I know how you feel, and I know what your religious beliefs are. You don't, and you don't know my life. And if there was even a modicum of belief that somebody gave a doggone about, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about up in here with the big government. If I thought that they gave a damn
about children
and being able to raise a kid, if somebody has a kid they can't raise, they throw them out the window. I mean, come on.
At the border. Do they really care about children in this country? Does Donald Trump really care about children that are not
I understand. I understand everyone else's perspective. We debate for a living. I'm saying that I don't think that murder should be legal in the United States of America. I believe abortion's murder, and it's that simple. And I am I knew today would be a rough day, because I knew that everyone would be upset, because I was watching CNN, everyone was going crazy. But I will say, for a lot of Republicans, this will help in midterms. And again, whatever Democrats think they have holding in the base, we're talking about a fractured Democratic Party. If maybe you guys had coerced together and not been voting for Jill Stein and voting for Bernie Sanders, maybe it wouldn't turn out like this. But for today, it's a good day for Republicans.
Well, the Russians were involved. Let's not forget that, too.
And the FBI.
No, I think we're all pro-life, what you say here all the time, and I feel like so often when this conversation comes up, we forget about moms, because that's a life involved with this choice as well. And also with the borders, I always find it funny that people are really up in my uterus, but when it comes to a baby that's already alive and out there, then we don't fight.
We'll be back with more hot topics. We'll come right back. Right now, a third of Americans actually believe that a second civil war will happen within the next 5 years. Now, what does that actually mean? A civil war? Because the Civil War was really about race and slavery. So what makes people think, do they see something I don't see? Did we miss something?
Yes, they see that we're going backwards. They see that now it's still about otherism. It's now about immigrants. It's now about Muslims. And so we're very much in that culture war. I mean, John Meacham's book outlines our history. I mean, this is not the first time that we see children separated from their families. Black children were separated from their families throughout the history of this country. And so let's face it, a second civil war, we are in the grasp of a civil war now, a culture war.
There's a tremendous fear amongst the white elites who are running the joint, and many of their supporters, that black and brown people will be the majority soon.
Well, we already are the majority.
Well, it's getting to be more and more. And this is the fear that is, they are stoking the fear of these supporters, in my opinion, this racist fear that this is what's going to happen. Your white privilege is going to be taken away. It's all fear-based. We live in New York City, okay? In New York City, every color of the rainbow gets along just fine.
And the rainbow.
And the rainbow.
Can I say one thing really quick?
So there is a tremendous fear of this happening in Europe. It's happening. It's happening in Italy, my favorite country, my family's country. It's so upsetting to see that happen there. That there's fear mongering going on at the top. They're telling Italians, oh, they're coming from Africa. They're going to take over your country. It's so sickening to see this happen, and this is what's driving it. It's fear, fear, fear. So remember that.
First thing, when I first came to the show, when you guys first hired me, I talked about the culture war in the meeting, and I believe your quote was, "What war? It takes two sides to fight." I'm glad we've all conceded that there is an actual culture war that's raging in this country. The second thing I want to say is that, okay, except for you, Whoopi. The second thing I want to say is that, yes, some of this is about race. I think we can concede that. But a lot of this is also about poverty, which, again, seems to be missed in the mainstream media. When you are living in a tiny town in America and your coal mine or steel mine went under and opiate addiction is raging in your town and there is no hope for your kids and you can't pay your insurance and you can't pay your college.
It sounds like black people.
But I'm trying to, again, we had...
You know, I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a crazy way.
I adore you, as you know.
Yes.
But that was a cheap shot. I'm trying to explain.
Wait.
No, I'm trying to explain.
I know what you're trying to do. I get it. And that's why I said it with a smile, because poor people are everywhere. There's not just
race
white.
As well. I'm trying to explain. I have been to these places.
So have I, Meghan. We've both been there. We know.
We had John Meacham saying Trump's getting elected in 2020 on the show. He's a presidential historian. It's more than likely going to happen if there are no lessons learned. And again, everyone's in a lot of pain. A lot of stuff is raging. I just come on the show every day trying to explain what Red America is thinking and doing and why this man got elected, because I truly believe I understand.
I appreciate your position.
I know,
yes.
and I
truly appreciate
it. We all do.
What I would like to know, to your point, is why do people think that the Republican Party, with Trump in charge, is going to help them out of their poverty when they give tax breaks to the very wealthy in this country?
Because
when he has created policies that are going to destroy American
his messaging is better than yours. His messaging is better than what Democrats have.
Even if it's a lie.
It is. Even if it's a lie, it's better. When someone comes to you, sometimes when you're so poor, and again, I don't know this, it's just the people I've talked to, it's easier to believe I'm going to make America great, I'm going to make it easier for you to make it better. Even if it's a lie,
well, if you don't invest in education, people don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's another problem.
That's
another topic.
We'll be back.